Normally you hear that welcome to the webinar thing. I didn't hear that.
It was on.
Hello and welcome to our webinar. Today we're focusing on leadership and specifically, are you a leader worth following? I'm Sharon Jones, Senior Facilitator and Consultant at Thomas North America, and with me is Dragon, our technical service chap, who's currently seeing if we are actually on air. All right, just checking. Awesome. People have already said that you can hear me. That's phew. You're off the hook there, Dragon. All good. All right, so let's take a look at the agenda for today. On today's webinar, we're going to take you through these core areas. What behavioural qualities do good leaders need? Exploring leadership behaviours with DISC. Customised PPA report to build leadership capability. And situational leadership with PPA. You'll be using your own PPA Graph 3 along with the worksheet which you should have received prior to this webinar. If you didn't receive it, let us know and we can get it to you during the session. Watch for these icons during the webinar. We're going to be testing your learning and knowledge and providing you information through polls and activities. We have the lines on mute. If you have a question, please do type it in the window, which is on the right-hand side of your screen. If your screen, the console is small, just click the arrow and it will broaden out and you can see the chat function there. I'm going to try and cover the questions as they get asked, but if we don't have enough time, I'll get back to you all via email. After this webinar, your Thomas consultant will be in touch to check in with you and see if you have any questions and to explore what's next for the leaders and potential leaders within your business. Before we move on, I want to ask you all a question. Could you all let me know with either yes or no, who is a trained user on the webinar today? Just type in your chat box, yes or no. Okay, thank you. Getting some responses in. Yes, with me. Well, that was good. Thank you for those of you who've responded that you did the certification with me. Excellent. All right, so it looks like I've got a good mix of people who do and people who don't. So if there is anything that those of you do not understand, then your consultant will definitely follow up with you. I will try and make this at a level that is not too easy for the people who are PPA trained and understandable for everybody else. Okay, so let's move ahead now. We're going to start here. We're thinking about last year. 2017 was quite a year. A lot happened and a lot will continue to happen as the pace of work continues to accelerate. Globalization, technology, the financial crises from prior, economic recession, downsizing, competition. The topic of AI is becoming increasingly top of mind, and all of this is going to have a direct effect on the leaders that we're going to need for the future. Here's the first poll. What do you see as your organisation's biggest leadership challenge for 2018 and beyond? There are 5 options here. I'll give you a few moments to have a look at these and then we will show you the poll. If nothing on here suits, then just click one which is closest to it and do let me know in the chat box if there is something else for you which is important. I'll give you 20 more seconds and then we'll move to the poll. Okay, let's show the poll and then you can add your vote and your voice. So just over half of you voted. Give you guys 10 more seconds and then we'll close the poll and see where your challenges are. Okay, let's take a look and see what you guys said. So 23% of you said that career development of your people to leadership positions is a key thing for you. Actually, 40% said continuous change. Yeah, it's interesting. Whenever I deliver training, that's becoming a theme consistently in every workshop now, is that the pace of change just is not stopping. Very different from when I started in the training world about 10 years ago. 15% of you said increasing competition in your marketplace. Yes, I don't think that's going to slow down too soon. 17% of you said succession planning for up and coming leadership departures. Yes, there's going to be a big glump of people who are leaving fairly soon, which is going to leave that gap. It's those baby boomers who are going to be off on their yachts somewhere. And 5% of you said ensuring diversity and inclusion in the workplace. Diversity inclusion is, of course, another big topic, hot topic at the moment. Thank you very much for sharing that information with me. A couple of other people had said transforming culture and, yes, succession planning. Okay, thank you for sharing. So the demand on leaders has never been higher than it is now, and the demand is only going to increase in the future. When you Google leadership, you get over 860 million hits, or you did at least on the day that I did this. I'm sure it's higher now. There's a lot of information out there, but the question is, what is actually true about being an effective leader? A recent HBR article brings forth some deep data to help us answer this question. Even. Dave Ulrich, professor of business at the Ross School of Business, went to 15 thought leaders, people who collectively have done 2 million Leadership 360s. They've written hundreds of books, and they said to them 2 questions. Question 1, what % of leadership is the same basic stuff, no matter what company, no matter what industry, no matter what geography, no matter what level? They found that 60 to 70% of good leadership is the same basic set of stuff. And question 2 is, what is that stuff? The 60 to 70% is within 5 areas that create the right set of conditions for a leader to be successful. The answers were common across the globe, and none of them relate to how long a person has been in the role, his or her strategic insight, business acumen, or ability to make decisions. To be a leader, you do need to have these hard competencies, but here is where the difference is. We're going to do this by poll, and this is a text in poll. Here are 4 of the 5 areas that were discovered. You can, on the worksheet, write them in. So area number 1, physical, taking care of your body. That's probably the most interesting one to think of about how important leadership is. But if you're not taking care of yourself, then you're not able to actually do the job of being an effective leader. Number 2 is social, networks. It's the ability to reach out and connect with others, building those relationships. Number 3 is the one that I'm going to ask you to vote in about. Number 4 is intellectual, learning agility. One thing that is for sure is that leaders with closed minds don't stay good leaders for long, and the ability to continue learning is absolutely pivotal. And number 5, purpose, finding meaning in your work. You can tell somebody who really finds meaning in their work and people who walk around who have a purpose. So text into me now, what do you think number 3 is? What is the missing leadership area? Somebody'd ask if this is being recorded. Yes, it is. So you can go and listen to it later. Some answers coming in here: communication, emotional intelligence, strategic, listening, relationship building, emotional intelligence, education, communication, people skills, effective communication, coaching and support, spiritual, emotional, influence, empathy, inspiring, perseverance, understanding of yourself and your impact on others, influencing, courage, lots of awesome ideas there. Strategic thinking, credibility, all of these are absolutely pivotal, you're right. Celebrating other people's strengths, for sure. All of those are awesome. Let's take a look then at what was found to be the answer. It's emotional. It's to know my strengths. So that's what we're going to be focusing on in this particular webinar. Emotional intelligence we're going to focus on actually on the next webinar. This one we're going to be looking at strengths, and because our behaviour is driven by our emotions, that's where we're going to be looking at the PPA to discover leadership behavioural strengths and leadership potential landmines. Before we get into any more detail of this, it's worth highlighting number 4 on the list, learning agility. So curiosity may have killed the cat, but it always helps the leader. Learning agility is curiosity, asking questions, reflecting on what worked and what didn't, and figuring out that what worked in the past may not be what works today. Often when we get involved in a leadership role, we feel that we should know it all. It's when you hear yourself or somebody else say, "I know." Saying "you know" or "I know" is the biggest curiosity smotherer, so delete it from your vocabulary. Whenever you say "I know," it stops you from thinking that you can learn anything new. Keeping an open mind is pivotal for leaders. As Marshall Grossman, the renowned and award-winning Milton scholar, famously said, "What got you where you are today won't get you where you need to get to tomorrow." Be curious and be open to learning and what you and the leaders in your business may need to do to get your business where it needs to get to tomorrow. Let's take a look at another poll. I'm interested now to find out about your business. How open is your organization to continual learning and developing leadership skills? There are 5 options. I'll give you 30 seconds to review and then I will show the poll. Okay, guys, let's go to the poll. Three-quarters of you have voted. 80%. Just give you guys another 10 more seconds and then let's see what you're saying. Okay, let's close the poll and see what you guys have said. So, interesting here. 33%, 30 and 30% across the top 3 answers. So 33% of you are wide open. You have a thirst for it in your business and you're taking action. Phenomenal. That's very exciting to see. 30% of you said fairly open. We've dipped our toe in the water and looking to try more things. Also excellent. You're on your way then to being wide open. And 30% of you are saying starting to be open. This is one of the earliest forays into leadership development. Well, I'm glad we're here with you on this early foray into it because it's a continual learning. 5% of you had said not really open at the higher levels. I'd like to help change that. Definitely do count on us to help you with that. If you need to get us in front of your senior executive, we are more than happy to do that. And 3% of you said not open at all and few signs of that changing. Again, talk with your consultant. We may be able to help. You just never know. And if you don't ask, you don't get, as I always say. Thank you very much for sharing with us. I know that some of you haven't actually received the handout, and we've had a technical glitch where we're not able to have it as a handout for you to download right now, but Savia is emailing it to everybody right now. So you should have it within the next 5 minutes. Okay. All right. So moving ahead. You will need your worksheet now as we're going to explore you with a leader. So I think we got another little glitch here because I may or may not be seeing, for some reason I'm not seeing what is being seen. on the screen. Can anybody tell me what you're seeing on your screen right now? Is it stuck on poll 3? Can you guys let me know? Okay, awesome. It's just mine then. All right. Okay, thank you very much, guys. For some reason, it's my own connection that has been lost, so I will ignore myself and carry on. Gosh, this is a great webinar. Technical things are all going awry, isn't it? Okay, so let me just make sure that we've got those of you who don't have the worksheet yet, my apologies. You will be getting it in your email in the next 5 minutes or so. So the three areas that we're going to focus on in the next few slides, we're going to be looking at your graph 3. Those of you who are familiar with PPA, you obviously know what I'm talking about. Those of you who do not, please just play along. If you get stuck in this, then please don't worry about it. Your consultant will help you through afterwards. So from your graph 3, which is your behavior, all things being equal at all times, here's how you would like to behave in the workplace today. That is going to give your profile. What are the factors above the line? Because those are your working strengths. In this example that we have here, the person has an above the line dominance and influence. Therefore, her PPA profile is dominance and influence. So you can go ahead and draw your own graph 3 in the space provided and write it in your profile. We're going to be looking at your focus as leader next. If you don't have your own PPA, you can still get a lot out of this by using the example provided and write DI in the profile space. Okay, and what we're going to cover next is going to give you a bit of a glimpse into the types of activities that we do in our leadership and team workshops, and the knowledge that has been learned in these workshops can blow the doors wide open in your business for active self-awareness and increase the appetite to take action for your leaders. So here are the working strengths of each of the leading profile factors above the line. Now, can you move that window over there? Oh, this is all such fun. All right, thank you. So dominance wants to make decisions. Influence is all about relationships, wants to work with people. Steadiness is all about service, wants to work at a steady pace. And compliance is all about quality and technical. They want to follow the rules. So what each of them have a preference for then is dominance is all about power. Influence is all about people. Steadiness is all about pace, and compliance is all about policy. So, as per the example on the worksheet, the person's profile is DI, and their focus as a leader is likely to be power and people. So I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to do that and write on your sheet and before we move ahead. Okay, I'm back up so you can put the chat screen back now. Oh, this is all fun. All right. Okay. All right, guys, so I hope you've had the chance to do that. We're now going to explore which strengths by profile are likely to engage others. So this is by poll, or will be by poll. Here are the dominance, influence, steadiness, and compliance. Let's take a look at each of their working strengths. So when we look at the working strengths of each one, here for dominance, for example, their working strengths are assertive, competitive, direct, driving, forceful, inquisitive, self-starter. Influence's working strengths are communicative, friendly, influential, networker, persuasive, positive, and verbal. So the person on the previous slide, those would be this person's leadership strengths. Let's take a look at steadiness and compliances. Steadiness is amiable, deliberate, dependable, good listener, kind, persistent, methodical, and thorough. Compliance is accurate, careful, compliant, logical, perfectionist, precise, and systematic. So the self-aware leader knows his or her own strengths, and here we are going to have a look now at your opinions. So thinking about dominance, which in your opinion is a key one for a leader with high dominance to engage followers? vote with your letter and let us know in the chat function. Actually, do we have this as a poll? Yes, we do. Okay, we have this as a poll. So you're going to vote A, B, C, D, or E. And I give you 10 more seconds to make your decision. And then we will show you the poll. Okay, let's show the poll. So which one is going to be most likely to engage followers? People are still voting. 75% of you have voted. Just 10 more seconds then. Okay, let's go see what you guys said. 59% of you said inquisitive, 23% of you said assertive, 15% said direct, and 1% said competitive, and 2% said forceful. Okay, interesting. Let's move now to influence. So here's the high influence: communicative, friendly, networker, persuasive, and positive. And don't worry, I am going to come back with something after you voted on all of these if you're thinking I've just ignored what you guys have voted for. So there's your choices. I'll show the poll in 10 seconds. Okay, let's show the poll. %75% of you voted. You're a lot quicker for this one. Interesting. Okay, so somebody's told me that their reason for their answer, which is good. So they voted for. Okay, let's close the poll. So 45% of you said communicative, and somebody had written that good communication allows you to engage people. 6% said friendly, 8% said networker, 27% said persuasive, and 14% said positive. Okay, excellent. Let's look at steadiness now. So steadiness, what is their biggest strength to engage followers? Is it deliberate, dependable, kind, persistent, or methodical? 10 seconds and then we'll show the poll. Okay, let's have a look at the poll. So 50% of you have voted. Ten more seconds. Okay, let's close the poll. So 12% said deliberate, 59% said dependable, 5% said kind, 16% persistent, and 8% said methodical. Okay. Interesting. I thought kind would have got more votes there. Who knows? Interesting. Let's take a look at compliance then. So what is compliance biggest strength to engage followers? Careful, compliant, logical, precise, or systematic? 10 seconds for the poll. Okay, let's see the poll. %50 of you have voted. Okay, another 10 seconds, because for some reason everybody quickly voted for this one. Okay, guys, let's take a look at what you said. So 3% said careful, 14% said compliant, 53% said logical, 10% said precise, and 19% said systematic. Okay, I wonder how many of you voted for the words that you felt best reflected you. That would be interesting to know. Okay, thank you. Let's take a look then at our answers. So, in essence, each profile has got working strengths, and each working strength can be an advantage when used at the right time in the right way. The simple answer is that every working strength can engage followers depending on the situation, the people, and the circumstances. The self-aware leader picks up on the things around him or her and adjusts accordingly. And the self-aware leader also knows his or her own strengths and also likely to know his or her own leadership landmines if they are overplayed. That's typically what happens. If somebody doesn't know what their strengths are and overplays them, they actually can trip them up and do the opposite. So that is where we're going to go next. Your likely leadership landmines. This is on the second page of your worksheet. So here's how you're going to use it. You're going to circle the profile factors that you have above the line. This can be 1, 2, or 3 from your graph 3. We'll continue using the example. So this person has 2 profile factors above the line, dominance and influence. On the next slide, we're going to look at each profile and their likely landmines. I'm going to show you here what it's going to look like. So this person has been through this exercise, has seen the landmines for both dominance and influence, and has chosen 3 actual answers from those to show you what it looks like. You may find that you resonate with all or just a couple depending on your profile, and the key here is to identify those that can have a negative effect on you and your people. So this person has said that their likely leadership landmines are to be consultative, patience, those come from their dominance factor, and listening from their influence factor. So I'm now going to show you all of the landmines for each of the profiles, and you can do this exercise for yourself. So let's take a look. So dominance landmines can be to be consultative and patience, which are the first 2 that the person had chosen. Also working on a team, empathy, and considering others. Influence landmines, emotional control, listening, control of time, objectivity, and profit focus. So the person who did the assessment before chose out of those the 2 from dominance, 1 from influence. Because what we don't know when we're looking at an individual is levels of self-awareness and previous training and learning. Let's look at steadiness landmines. Rapid response to change, initiating new things, contributing to a conversation, meeting deadlines, and challenging the status quo. Compliance deadlines, landmines even, to shortcut on detail, delegation, big picture thinking, to have a direct approach to conflict, and acting without a precedent. So take a moment now and write in what you believe your leadership landmines are going to be based on your profile. Yes, and landmines means behaviours that are obstacles to being a successful leader, exactly as that was asked as the question. So yeah, when we say landmines, these are the challenges for a leader. So for me, and I'll let you guys know that the profile we are showing you today is mine. Those are mine, to be consultative and patient, because I like to do things my own way, and listening because I just like to talk. So if you just want to go, does anybody need a little bit more time to read these landmines? If anyone needs a little bit more time, just write more time in the chat box. Okay, looks like you don't. So let's take a look at the next slide. And that would be an example of what it is. So let's think about then, hopefully you've got written down what your likely landmines are. So the thing to consider is what are the potential implications to your team to your business. In this example, the DI leader, which is me, recognized her challenges were to be consultative, patient, and listening. In thinking about the effect on her team, this is what she thought. So sometimes my team may think I am making decisions without them. They may feel I don't trust their judgments. They might not want to talk to me if I don't demonstrate patience and I don't listen to them. So that's actually insight for myself when I was a VP client services in the advertising business. I wish I'd known that all this back then. So take a couple of minutes to think about the implications of your landmines on your teams and on your businesses. Thank you for some of you who are texting in your answers to me in the chat box. And we're doing this without judgment, though the reality is if you can recognize what your challenges are, then and meet them without judgment, be aware of them and do something with them. Good, and I'm seeing directly, obviously, correlations to people's profiles based on what is being written in. Things like somebody's having challenges with delegation, with profit focus, meeting deadlines, to be consultative. So what are the implications of those things on your team? So somebody's written in, I can become too directive, consultative, so managers don't learn how to handle situations on their own. Excellent insight. So it's the insights that you get about the implications. Somebody else has written here, sometimes I may not push the team to the next level. Business is changing and might not change rapidly enough to keep up. Very good. Again, the goal here is to open the box to see what the challenges can be. I can't get everything done and others need to grow in that skill set when I do not delegate, absolutely. Sometimes I forget people don't work as quickly as I do. I need to be more patient and how other people learn. Excellent. Oh, this is awesome. Thank you guys for letting us know. I'm so glad that you're filling it all in. All right. Okay, I'm going to move ahead because I want to make sure that we finish within the time slot for you. So continue doing that work for you and your businesses. Think about how relevant that can be for your leaders. So this next slide is here's how your business can really help your leaders develop their ability and skills by using the PPA and a customized report to build leadership capability. I'm going to show you how it's done so those of you who have access to the hub can see it. You can also, actually we've got challenges with the download, but what we will do is we'll send you a copy of the customized report planning guide after this webinar. So let's take a look at the next slide here, which is going to show us what the hub looks like. If you don't know or don't have access, then your Thomas consultant will connect with you after. So to build a customized report, it's under reports and surprisingly underneath create customized report. You have a choice. You have a choice of including up to 30 paragraphs of information for the report under 7 different headings, which include management, executive characteristics, sales and customer service attributes. It's really worthwhile getting to understand what the context is for each of these so that you can really create a very, very customizable leadership report that works for you in your business. So I'm going to show you an example here. Here we have 2 leaders. We have Julie and Nora. Both are leading teams. Here are their PPAs. Jules is a CS profile and Nora is a DI profile. That's me really. Unfortunately, I don't look like Nora, but never mind. They're likely to have very different strengths and potential landmines. So strengths and opportunities in developing others. Here is the customized report. So you're not going to be able to download it here, but we will send it to you after. In it specifically for leaders is the section that's called developing others. So let's take a look here. Here is the developing others under Julie. So what it's going to say for her is she's going to take a logical approach to the development of others, recognizing its importance to the organization. There's a tendency for her to emphasize specialist qualifications rather than the principles of general management. There's also information in there about what is relevant to her profile, which would be taking control of situations. And at the bottom, you'll see that an area that she may need to consider, given her profile, would be assertiveness. Let's have a look then at Nora's. On developing others, it said that she is likely to be enthusiastic about the development of others and may discuss potential development with people. What you'll see for her specifically then is that the change compared to Nora's, Nora had taken control of situations, Jules did. For Nora, her challenge here is setting key tasks. Given her profile, this is what's going to be relevant to her. And down the bottom there, you'll see that it says listening, that she may need to learn how to listen accurately. So the nice thing about these reports is it will differentiate, depending on profile, what the likely challenges are for the leader to be successful. Okay, so let's move on. So that's what the leadership reports, the bespoke customized reports, are going to look like. Next, we're going to have a look at situational leadership with PPA. Okay, so this is times when each profile can excel. This is part also of the executive leader team workshop that we offer to help clients enhance their people's leadership skills. We'll send you a copy of the agendas as well. So on your worksheet, as we go through these slides, make a note of your likely leadership style, when it's helpful and when it might be harmful. We're going to be doing this by poll. And again, think about the people in your business to whom this may also have relevance. So let's take a look at what situational leadership is. So definitely the description here is the right style for the right situation and the right person. So a good leader is somebody who wears many hats, who recognizes the needs of the people in front of him or her, and is able to flex their behavior according to the profiles of the people around them. So let's have a look at describing it through the eyes of D, I, S, and C. Somebody has dominance on their profile. Their likely leadership style is going to be authoritarian. That style is going to work well when taking charge is necessary. That style is also going to work well if there is a group of people who are having a discussion and can't come to a consensus. Sometimes dominance can say, okay, we need to make a decision, let's move ahead. So a leader who's got dominance on their profile already has got a natural inclination towards knowing this. But there are going to be times when it isn't going to be a worthwhile leadership strength to bring to the table. So by poll, we're going to show you 4 different scenarios. Which of the following situations would dominance's leadership style not be helpful? I'll leave you a minute to read this. Then we will show you the poll to see which one you vote for. So I'll give you a minute to read that. Does anybody need more time to review the options? If you do, just write more time in the chat function. Okay, let's move to the poll. So just over half of you have voted. Give you guys 10 more seconds. Okay, let's close the poll and see what you think. So 17% of you think option A, 64% say B, 9% say C, and 10% say D. Let's take a look. We would say typically option B, that one of the teams having a hard time keeping up. He has some challenges working with another team member. If a dominance leadership style comes in and starts to dictate to this person, it's probably not going to be the best way to help them realize what their challenges are and how to get along with another team member. So how the style would work is if the team has been batting around ideas for some time, the project deadline is looming and a decision needs to be made. That's a true statement. That's when dominance style will work. Answer C, the team is agreeing with each other on ideas that won't necessarily help them achieve their targets, is a true statement. The dominance leadership style will work then. And answer D, a new initiative has come down from the C-suite and they've asked the leaders of the business to lead the charge. Then definitely a dominance leadership style will work in that case. But when someone's having a hard time keeping up, dominance is not going to be the right style to apply in this situation. Okay. Thank you for voting, guys. Let's take a look at influence. So influence's leadership style is likely democratic, and they tend to work well when exciting and motivating others, getting the team all riled up in a good way about what's coming down the pipeline, setting the vision, all that fun stuff. But there are times when it's not going to work so well. So same thing, we're going to show a poll. So which statement would high influence leadership style not be helpful? Again, I'll give you a minute to review and then we will show the poll. If anybody needs more time to review the options, please write more time in the chat box. Okay, let's show the poll. So just over half of you have voted. So as you're thinking, I'll give you guys another 10-15 seconds. Okay, let's take a look, see what you said. 11% of you said answer A, 11% of you also said answer B is a false statement, 4% of you said answer C is a false statement, and 74% of you said answer D is a false statement. Let's take a look. Absolutely. Answer D is a false statement. Answer A, the team experienced the loss of a major client and now needs some motivation to get them back on the track. High influence is definitely going to be able to do that, and that would be their absolute pleasure to be able to do that because they love to motivate others. Answer B, the team is brand new to each other and needs to establish good relationships with each other. Again, high influence loves to help people build relationships with each other. Answer C, a team member needs some coaching on how to present with enthusiasm. Who best to help someone learn how to do that than a high I leader? So answer D, a person on the team is not performing up to expectations, a high influence with their basic fear of rejection. Chances are it's not the easiest for them to be able to talk about performance issues. So it's not to say that all high I leaders can't do this, because that isn't true, but it's about where are the likely limitations and where might this leadership style not be useful, because there would need to be a bit more of a pragmatic approach to an individual rather than trying to motivate them into performing up to expectations. Okay, good job, guys. Let's take a look now at our steadiness leader. So a steadiness leadership style is likely to be procedural because they like to create order in their environment, and they work well when others is required. They're very organized. So there are going to be times when it works well, but there is also going to be times when this style does not work well. Let's take a look. Here are your options again. Which of the following situations would high steadiness leadership behaviors not be helpful? Anybody need more time? Write more time? Okay, let's show the poll. Okay, we've got just over 60% of you have voted, so another 10-15 seconds. Okay. All right, let's close the poll and see what you guys said. 58% of you said answer A, 14% of you said answer B, 12% of you said answer C, and 16% of you said answer D. My apologies, somebody wrote more time. I apologise for that one. It came in after I'd asked Dragon to move ahead, so my apologies. Let's take a look at the answer. So answer A is the incorrect answer. Let's look at the correct answers first, then we'll come back to A. So when there's a lot of organisational requirements and scheduling difficulties with the team, high steadiness leadership style, they tend to be very good at organising and like to be able to work with schedules and figure out who should do what and when. So that's when it would work. The business wants to bring in a culture of coaching with high steadiness is likely preferred communication style of listening, a natural ability to be a good coach, then that style would be a priority to use in this environment. Two people on the team are experiencing performance issues, again, because high steadiness leadership style is likely to be consultative and talking to the individuals, listening to what they say and coaching, then that style is going to be absolutely appropriate. So answer A is the incorrect one, the false statement. The senior executive would like the team to challenge the way it delivers on projects. High steadiness's downside potentially can be fear of change and not wanting to change things or rock the boat, as it were. So that's where high steadiness procedural style would not be useful. Thank you, guys. Let's take a look now at compliance. Compliance leadership style is knowledge-based. They work well when process and procedures are required and like to help the business stay within the rules and regulations as well as the people within it. So obviously a fantastic style in certain situations. Let's take a look now at 4 different scenarios and same thing. Which one would it not be helpful in? If anybody would like more time, just put MT in the chat box. Okay, some people are coming in saying more time. And somebody said less time. So you can't win. All right, let's let's move ahead, show the poll. Wow, that was quick. Over 60% of people have voted already. Awesome. So 15 more seconds. Okay, guys, let's take a look at what you said. Okay, we're having another technological challenge here. I think for some reason we can't see what you guys can see, which is strange. But looking at that, 89% of you said answer D, 1% said answer A, 5% said answer B, and 4% said answer C. So can we have a look at the next slide? Is that going to work for us? Okay, so the answer here is answer D. Okay. So let's take a look at the right answers then. So compliance is leadership style. Person is new to the team and needs to understand precisely what policies must be followed. Compliance is the perfect one to be able to direct in this way from a leadership. Answer B, the business is going through change and the team has to review and analyze all risks in the marketplace. Compliance, likely leadership style, is going to love that, to be able to analyze risk. Answer C, the team's performance has to match up to exact standards and a couple of people are falling short. Again, absolutely perfect compliance leadership style. The incorrect answer then is answer D, the team needs to take some risks on a project and not all the information is known. High compliance, they don't like to take unnecessary risks and with their fear of conflict and chaos, and they want to ensure that their environment is calmed by rules and regulations. So this is when they may have to learn to flex a behavioural style that would allow them to do this, to take some risks. Okay, thank you very much, guys. That is all of the polls that we've gone through. So to round it all out, and again, that was a very quick overview of how knowing your PPA can help your leaders understand who they are, because most people aren't fully aware of how they come across to others. Self-awareness can be an oxymoron because others are actually more aware of how we come across than we are. So going through this process is helpful. The PPA is a powerful tool for self-awareness and then leadership development, as it allows the focus to be on behavior and not on the person directly. So it's not saying you're not a good leader, but what it's saying is your behavior could be more adaptable to suit the situation better. So it takes the emphasis off the individual and makes it much easier for people to accept it and learn from it. Using assessments are like the gifts that keep on giving. I say this all the time in training. When people realize their power, they can appreciate strengths and differences rather than saying, well, I wouldn't do it that way, which of course is one of the worst things that you can hear in an organization. I know for myself, I wish I'd have had the gift of assessment when I was VP Client Services. It would have saved my team, I think, from having me as a manager. And last point here is the more knowledge we can give our people to succeed, the more success our businesses will experience. Your consultants are going to follow up with you after this webinar to discuss team or leadership reports and workshops. And I'm hoping that lots of you want to do leadership workshops, leadership reports, because it's important stuff. And besides, I love delivering workshops. Leadership ones are the things that drive me. So, here we go, the webinar recording for resources. This will be uploaded to the client resource site within 48 hours. It also has on that client resource site, and if you can't remember how to access your client resource site, let us know where we can help you find your login information. It is different from the hub. This is the one where you can have all kinds of documents in how to use the PPA. Resources available from this webinar, which we will make available for you: the worksheet, the customized report planning guide, the customized leadership report example, and an executive team workshop agenda. Upcoming webinars, so do hold the dates and do sign up for these. On May the 9th, how do I build emotional resilience? I'm not going to be delivering that one, Merle is, unfortunately scheduling times, but you're going to have a great experience with Merle there. May 24th, how do we build trust in teams? Very key as well right now. And June 19th, how do I provide feedback on all three tools? So just before we close off, does anybody have any questions, thoughts, comments? Anybody want to let us know anything? Thank you, and thank you. Okay, so got some lovely thank yous coming through, so I do appreciate that. I love this stuff. I don't know if you can tell that, but I do. Please do as well keep in touch with us. If you are on LinkedIn, don't forget to join our LinkedIn North American Trained Users group. If you don't know how to do that, you can connect with me directly or with your consultants. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm the only Sharon Jones in the world. Kidding. Sharon Jones, if you put Sharon Jones and Thomas International, you'll find me, connect with me, connect with your consultant, and let's get on that LinkedIn group. Um, Good. Thank you, guys. I think we are 4 minutes out. Unless there are any questions, I think we can say thank you very much. Thank you and good night.